Hello and welcome to the Pandaverse. I'm E. Christine is C. And we have the other Christine
Hi.
here, Christine Davis.
Hello.
Alan's getting sleet and snow where he's at in Texas.
Texas is getting snow.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm in Oklahoma, just above them, and we're cold, but no snow.
It's not snowing here. The sun appeared in Ohio today, everybody. Mark it down on a calendar. It has been so gray and so gloomy for like 2 weeks straight. The sun came out today.
Oh, yay. And we're cold, but we're sunny.
Yeah,
Cold but sunny.
whenever it snows in central Texas, native Texans don't get out of their house because all the people that live in Texas that aren't born there have no idea how to drive in snow. So
Right. Yeah.
like, drive at your own risk. It snowed in January when I was in Texas. I was in school there, and it was nuts. People putting chains on their front tires.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I was
tires
there.
back tires of front wheel drive cars. Yeah. Stupid stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was there, it was sleeting in Austin, and it shut down Austin completely for like 2 days.
They don't have snow removal
Mm-mm.
equipment.
Yep. Nope. Something they're not used to. I hope they enjoy it. I hope it's beautiful for them. You know, snow is really pretty in moderation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here if
it
they
gets
have
all-
snow, it's like 1 inch and everything's closed.
Yeah.
And it gets all dirty and
What
nasty.
state is that located in?
They're talking about Texas.
So, what's today's topic, Elgin?
Today's topic is dreams and how they influence our writing and how they influence our life and how people think that they predict things and all sorts of things like that. So,
Oh, well, I have a great story for you.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
oh yes. So I
Start off.
recently, as in within the next 2 days or the last 2 days, I had a nightmare, and I'm hoping it's not a predictive nightmare. I dreamt that it was 2021, so this year, and there was a real alien invasion. There were UFOs covering the skies, and they were not friendly. So we were scared, my family and I, and we had packed all our stuff, and we were heading for the woods, anywhere we could hide, because they were literally mutilating every human they came across. It was terrifying. And when I woke up, it was like, oh, I hope that
Well,
not going to happen.
when you woke up, you're like, yay!
Yeah, I was like, okay, no aliens yet. Oh. So,
I heard that writers sometimes what they'll do, they keep a journal by their bed. And when they have a dream like that, they write it down in detail so that they can write a story from it.
mhm.
Yeah, because as the day wears on, you forget what your dream was about.
Right.
Like immediately when you wake up, you go, that'd be an absolutely great story to write.
Right.
And then you go downstairs and have a cup of coffee and kind of wake up and you go, what was that dream about again? When you get to be my age, you have really silly dreams. Like if you drink too much water in the course of the evening, like you have to cut off your water consumption at one point, because at my age it's all about the bathrooms. So if you have too much water before you go to sleep, you'll have dreams about trying to find a restroom,
Oh,
which has got to be the most absurd. I know. I'm kind of worried that that's going to devolve into something where I got to wear diapers and
I know what to get you for
and
Christmas next year, Elgin.
Yeah, give me some Depends. But
Just to be prepared.
I haven't had any bladder control problems, and
That's
usually
positive.
usually it wakes me up right away anyway. So
Yeah. I have a lot of story ideas from the dreams I have. I used to suffer from night terrors as a kid, and even into my adult life, I had night terrors. I haven't had
Wow.
one. Yeah, I haven't had one in a little while, which is a blessing. They take a lot out of you. I've dreamt some really just crazy dreams, and they're so real. I had a dream. I'll tell you about the story idea. It's a book I want to write called Somnium, which is sleep in Latin. And basically what it is I had dreamt about, I was sleeping and I saw the light turn on in the hallway, and the door opened and there was this man, and he was in leather, like trappings, like leather, like old, like medieval time, like clothing. And he looked really scary. He had long, like crazy hair, and he had bad skin. Like he looked like he'd seen like war and just crazy like things. Well, he had this backpack that was leather, and he pulled this box out of it. It was about this big, and it had these old ancient runes on it. He opened it and took out this disc, which is about this long, is about this tall, and it was like real smooth, and it was kind of shaped like, you know how in Chicago they've got it looks like the bean?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen that.
It looked like that. Well, he walked over to my side of the bed. Now, I was watching myself sleep, so I was watching him walk over to my side of the bed. He tried to place it on my forehead, and he couldn't, and he got really mad about it. He was really frustrated. And he didn't know I was watching him. So then when he finally decided he couldn't do it, he walked over to my husband's side of the bed and he put it on his forehead, and it was fine. And then he took one more look at me, and he just had enough, and he just disappeared. And when I woke up, I knew that what it was is that when we're sleeping, we're given these thoughts and these ideas, and the ones that may present a danger to humanity, he comes and he takes from us while we're sleeping. So when you wake up in the morning and you don't remember your dreams, that's why. It's because he took them from you.
Wow, that's for a good story. That really would.
Right.
Dream thief.
He's a dream
thief.
thief.
I have the dreams that I have. The worst dreams I have is because I have really severe asthma and problems with my lungs. And I dream when I'm sleeping that I'm not breathing, and my body will jerk awake, and then I'm actually having an asthma attack.
Oh, wow.
So that's very scary. Anytime I have an asthma, that happens. And sometimes I start to scream in my dream because I need somebody to wake me up because I have to take my medicine.
Yeah.
And that's the scariest dreams for me.
Wow.
I've scared my husband something terrible, just crying out, trying to get somebody to wake me up.
Oh, my gosh.
I have like a hit parade of dreams that, have the same theme, may have the same settings and everything, but you kind of see them from different angles. And I kind of enter that repertoire from time to time.
Yeah.
So,
fried windows kind of sounds like it should have been a dream.
Well, there's things in there that I've had in dreams. I mean, obviously, if you've ever read it.
Right.
But, I mean, I've had, when I was growing up, my mom always used to tell me about, dreams that she had and things that she believed were predictive. And my mom had a pretty good track record for dreaming things that came true. So that's kind of disturbing. But as I grew up, I'd have periodic nightmares, but it was actually on my birthday when I turned 25. I had a dream that I was in a store it was off the campus of University of Texas. I felt a tapping on my shoulder, and I turned around, and I was facing myself, and I told myself what constitutes dreams, how dreams are put together, and taught myself how to wake up inside the dream.
Oh, wow.
And
that's useful.
So anytime that a dream gets kind of, heading toward creepiness and stuff like that, I tend to wake myself up, inside the dream. I have some pretty bizarre dreams, but they don't really scare me.
You gotta publish that technique of being able to wake you up, because I could probably use that one.
Yeah. Self-help book.
Self-help book. Yeah.
Self-help book, how to get out of a dream.
I mentioned it in some of my books because the character Brent Woods is able to wake up inside his dreams.
Yeah, my first night terror that I ever had, I I mean, it probably wasn't my first, but it's the one I remember the most. I was young, maybe like 9, 10.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting in bed and in a dark room, and I heard this noise from a closet that was directly across from me. And all of a sudden, the light turned on, and there was a demon inside of the closet.
Oh dear.
And when he turned the light on, it let out this awful siren noise, and it was him with his mouth open screaming this siren noise.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That should make it into a book too.
Yeah, I remember the way he looked. I remember everything, and like he had this awful grin on his face, and just this siren. It was I was screaming. I woke up screaming, and my parents couldn't calm me down. That was pretty terrifying.
Yeah. No, the most vivid dreams I had, and actually that came true, is that when I was pregnant both time with my children, I dreamed what they would look like, down to their hair and the looks, and it both times it worked. I dreamed about what they looked like when they were going to be about 2, 3, and both of them came out looking exactly like the dream. And I was like, I think you get psychic sometimes when you're pregnant, because there's, something,
hormones.
Yeah, those extra hormones, something just, wakes up the psychic ability in your brain.
Yeah.
And I've only when I was pregnant did I ever I could tell who was calling, or I could even tell what was going on in my neighbor's house. So that's dreams like that at those times. I think when something big is happening in your life, I think that's when dreams can really take on more of a realistic application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And they say that you only use like 10% of your brain. So when we're sleeping, what if more of those open, and
right.
you don't know you're subconsciously using the other parts of your brain. They say that when you dream, you don't see strangers in your dreams, that every person in your dream is somebody you have met along the way in your life. And I don't believe that, because there have been numerous dreams where I know I've never
right.
seen before in my life.
I have strange dreams too. I mean, I usually know the principal characters, there's usually some guy I know, or some woman that I know, and I'm always in a starring role, it seems. But I remember when I was in college, I had a really strange set of dreams. The first one was it was like I was in a high school, but it wasn't a high school that I had ever attended. It was like I'd broken into the high school after night. Again, I was looking for a restroom. I was standing at a urinal in the men's room, and somebody came in and started taunting me. In the background there's somebody else, and they climbed up on the side of one of the stalls and started peeing on me.
Oh
my gosh.
That's not good.
Which obviously pissed me off. So I started chasing him. He had a skateboard and I had a skateboard somehow. I mean, it's like in your dreams, you either find something that you need, or it's already there, or you use it. And he started running, rolling on his skateboard away from me, and I started chasing him. And we get to a hill, and he's running down the hill as fast as he can go, and I'm going as fast as I can go right after him. He makes this really sharp turn. I make a sharp turn after him. There's a car making a left turn right at the same time, and the car hits me.
Scary.
And I feel the impact, but I don't feel any pain or anything. And then I have this sensation that I can see in every direction, and I see what's happening around the scene. I see the crumpled up body under the fender, and there's a man and a woman standing there, and they're like dressed up in a suit. I feel like the breeze comes by and it picks me up and like sweeps me away, and I have no control.
Edward from Twilight.
And, you know, that dream weirded me out, so I woke up. And I'm still kind of amped up from the dream, but I eventually get back to sleep. And so I'm dreaming, and I'm in this really big house, you know, with a like a winding stairway and everything. And I'm calling upstairs, and I'm, you know, asking, I guess, my wife, "You're not ready yet? Hurry up, we're going to be late." I turn around and I'm, you know, fixing my tie in the mirror and, you know, getting ready, and it's a like a tuxedo, so I'm like fixing my bow tie, and we go out to the car, and we go to this party, and it's like early morning, I guess, but it's after the party, and we're coming out to get back in the car, and my wife's like saying, "Let me drive," and I'm like, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine, I can drive." So we're driving in the car, and we're driving down the street, and I'm getting ready to make a left turn, and the sun is coming up, and it blinds me, and I hit this kid that's on a skateboard. I woke up and I said, "No." Yeah, those are the kind of dreams that I used to have
Wow.
before I started waking up.
Do you guys, as authors, do you ever like write down, like I said, that they have a journal? You ever keep track of some of these things that happened and work it into a book or?
I used to do that, but like I said, I have the same dreams over and over again. So, you know, I remember them, and they're always just a variation on a theme. So it's kind of like the way that my mind works, my creative mind works when I'm writing, because I'll write down a basic story, and then I'll go back and I'll fill in some details, or, you know, add some other characters in it so that the interactions are better. But I don't know if you've ever watched this. I found a channel on YouTube, and I forget the girl's last name, but her first name's like Akiane. She's like an art prodigy, and she does all kinds of real looking paintings, realistic paintings. And she started off when she was just a kid, and her paintings are like phenomenal. And she's in her, I think she's around 20 or so now, so she's an adult, and she films the process of her making a painting now, and she'll start off with a blank canvas and then do the background and then just filling in the details, and then she may draw an owl, and then the owl's like all perfect and everything. It looks like an owl, and then she like decides it doesn't belong there, covers it up, and does something else in the painting. So her paintings have multiple layers of things.
Back
Her
paintings.
paintings are like
Yeah.
her paintings are like a story, and her paintings tell a story to her as she's creating them. And I think that's kind of the way that my books evolve. And I think that's kind of true of every creative person, that you start off with a basic idea, and it leads you to another part of the story, and
Yeah.
that evolves and that develops. And you may draw upon all kinds of influences, including dreams that you had. You know, you may be kind of stuck in a certain area, and you set the book aside for a few days, and you work on other things, and then you have a dream, and you go, "That fits exactly in there."
Your subconscious telling you you better get back to work.
Yeah, get back to work. Here's what you need. This is the missing piece. And it may just be that your mind had to, you know, go through the whole scenarios and play it around. It's like a computer that's trying to solve a problem.
Right.
And I think that's how it happens for most writers.
Yeah, I had a really odd dream that I actually did get up. I was up for about an hour afterwards because I fell asleep, and I I guess woke up in this, it was a pitch black place. There was just me, and it was just all black. And then all of a sudden, the symbol in just bright white just was right in front of me, and then it flashed, and then it went away, and I woke up. So when I got up, that's all I wanted to do was write this symbol because it was so prominent. It was two interlocking triangles with an upside down scythe. Whatever it means, nobody knows. So if anybody watches this video and know what it means, hopefully it's good.
Did you do like research on it or anything? Or
I did try.
Try to find it on the web or something.
I did, and basically so it was kind of neat. Some of the things I found. Some of the things I found were there's an underground or underwater pyramid. What I found was there's an underwater pyramid, and it's kind of like linked to the Bermuda Triangle, and I guess there's other underwater pyramids. And they think that somehow they all connect, and this symbol has something to do with it. And I was like, maybe I saw that like on Stargate or something, you know? Like it was just
ancient aliens.
Ancient aliens.
Yeah, they have that one program where they do go into how aliens for the pyramid and stuff, and how they believe that they might have been influenced for the whole culture. So that could have tied into that.
Yeah.
That's another thing for about tie into the pyramids.
Right. Or maybe it's my past life. Maybe I, had something to do with that symbol, and it was trying to remind me of something. Maybe it unlocks the mystery. Maybe it unlocks the Sphinx or something crazy. Right. Kind of like that movie, The Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah. That would be really a tie into the story.
Yeah. So,
gotta do that.
Yes.
One of my friends, when he was in the military, he was in Vietnam in the 60s, but he did the same job function that I had when I was in the military. He was telling me a story. When he came back to the States, he had to adjust to life again because he was used to everybody's out to kill me, type of mentality. And he'd done some pretty harsh things, during the war because he had to survive. So he's trying to adjust to being part of society again. And he had a lot of trouble with it. So he checked himself into a mental hospital for observation and wanted to work through his problems that way. While he's in the hospital, he realized that he's not as crazy as the real crazies, worked his way through it and got to the point where he was ready to leave, but he had no job lined up on the outside, and they asked him to stay on as an orderly because he got along really well with all the patients. So he became an orderly, and he worked there for quite a while, and one of the patients that he had to deal with on a regular basis had a disorder where he never slept, and he just constantly talked. And if he ever got really quiet, that was a sign that he was getting ready to have an emotional outburst. So that was a warning sign. So orderlies were scheduled to keep an eye on him. And, I forget the guy's name, but let's call him Daryl. And they were doing Daryl watch. And the orderlies weren't supposed to talk to the guy, weren't supposed to engage in conversation with him at all, weren't supposed to respond to anything that he said. And they were looking for him going quiet for an extended period of time. Or if he started talking about Jesus or Elvis, he was getting ready to have an explosive outburst. So my friend, I used to call him Grim, he said that this guy was going on and on about past lives and everything. And Grim was kind of bored, and he was paying attention to what he was saying. And he said the guy was actually kind of making sense, about certain things. And he said it might have been that it was like 4 a.m, but things kind of make sense to you at 4 a.m. He said the guy says something about reincarnation, and Graham says, "So you believe in reincarnation?" And then the guy just stopped talking and looked at Graham, and he goes, "Well, you made it back, didn't you?"
Wow.
That is amazing.
That's a great response.
Grim said that creeped him out so bad that he said, "Okay, I'm not working here anymore."
Wow. Well, you know what I think? I watched a show on Netflix, and it was about people who were in a mental institution, and it talked about how the different things that they suffered from and things like that. And sometimes I think we don't realize that, maybe these people are, part of their brain, maybe it does more or does something different than our brains do. So maybe, like autism is a great example. Autistic children are very intelligent. And I believe that, they're on a completely different field than we are, that they see things maybe, better than we do, or they understand things to a level that we don't understand.
Yeah, they see elements and things
Mm-hmm.
that we don't observe because we're kind of dead. Our
Right.
senses are dead
I,
to it.
and that's one of those things where I believe that they use more than 10% of their brain. And it goes back to while we're sleeping, why couldn't part of your brain open up? They say astral traveling is a real thing. I believe in astral traveling. I have seen some things, I have been places, and when I wake up after doing things like that, I am exhausted. It's like I never slept. It was like I was awake the entire night. And maybe it's because I was, it's kind of, it's just mystifying. And it's something I've always really been into. It intrigues me.
Yeah, I kind of wonder also. My mom had Alzheimer's before she died, and I kind of wondered if she was actually off in another world sometimes. And because when she was first coming down with it, she would just be forgetful. She'd forget to do things, and then it got to the point where she would forget that she had left the stove on, and it became dangerous. When she'd been in the hospital for a couple of years, she lost track of who people were, and she thought that everybody is in her house for some reason. Why are all these people in my house? And she didn't get along really well with my ex-wife, and whenever she saw my ex-wife, she started thinking that she was her sister, which was kind of strange and in its own way. She didn't know who I was at times. Sometimes she did. But as the disease progressed, she became more and more detached from reality, and it's a really sad disease to watch. But I was wondering if if the process of the disease, because they say your brain shrinks, while you're undergoing it. I'm just wondering if your brain is shutting down certain parts and you're using other parts, and you're creating your own little fantasy world.
Right. That makes sense too. Yeah.
They say that near the end of life that people start to see, sometimes you get the stories where they say people sometimes start to see angels, or start to see kind of like on a plane that we aren't as healthy people, as not as old, or as not as near the end of life, that they can see these other planes because they're about to transition to it themselves. So it's kind of like an introduction. And that's what they said, because my mother-in-law, when she was dying, she was saying that she was seeing angels and faces all around her, and we couldn't see it, but she wasn't, she was mentally fine, but she could see these things. So I was like, okay, if they're transitioning to a different phase of life, that maybe they start to have almost like an introduction to it before they get there, like somebody's leading them there.
I'm pretty sure that you can't pick the time you're going to die.
Right.
When you're advanced in age, but you have some variance in the time that you're going to leave. When my dad, right before he passed away, he'd been in and out of the hospital several times. He had Parkinson's, so he would have trouble swallowing things, and he would inadvertently ingest food into his bronchial tubes, and that takes bacteria with it, and we give him what's called aspiration pneumonia. So he was in and out of the hospital being treated for aspiration pneumonia in his last few years. And they wrote him off several times, and he would bounce back and amaze everybody. At the end, they were getting ready to release him from the hospital, and he had a colostomy bag that he actually wore. He had an incision, and that ruptured, and it threw him into septic shock. So that was what took him out. But
wow.
I mean, he would have probably lived a little bit longer. otherwise. But he was on a respirator and, the whole thing, and he was unconscious. But my sister was in the Air Force then, and she hadn't made it back from overseas yet, but she was on her way. My other sister and I had already been discussing, if we wanted them to pull the plug or not, having an argument about it, and wasn't really a big argument. It was like, just arguing the pros and the cons of it. And we knew that Dad wouldn't want to be kept alive that way. And it was really strange because when my other sister made it there to the hospital, we're all three in the room together. And it seemed like Dad responded to our voices then. And then we went back, home, or went to Joyce's house, my big sister's house. And we were again discussing, what we were going to do. And when the hospital called and said that he'd passed away. So it was like he took the decision out of our hands. He knew what we were doing. But it also seemed like he was waiting for, my sister Jeanette to get there from Germany.
Aww. He was. I would bet.
Yeah, I would say yeah, too. Yeah to that.
Yeah. Aw. Hey, on a happier note, Elgon.
Happier note.
What is that shirt you're wearing?
It's like
Oh yeah, I noticed how colorful that was.
This is one of two Christmas shirts that I've got. I don't know if you can see it or not. Since the pandemic started, I've been watching a lot of YouTube channels because, I want to see how other people do this. But I've been watching other YouTube channels. And one of the YouTube channels I watch is a couple that are, they moved their family off the grid completely. And they're in the mountain areas in West Virginia. And they're building a house up there that's completely off the grid, solar powered. They got their own well, their own septic system. And they pretty much got their house together now, the main house, but they're going to build another section onto the bedrooms. So they've got like a temporary bedrooms put together. So this is part of the merch that they sell.
Oh my gosh.
Fun
You know what it is you're really Santa Claus, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really.
Got the glasses and the beard.
That's what I was always thinking.
Sweater. I think we solved a mystery, Christine.
Yes, we have it now. It's proof. He's got the shirt. He's got everything. Can't hide it from us anymore.
Elgon, you're Santa. We know it.
Santa. And
Yep.
the North Pole is actually disguised as Las Vegas.
Well, yeah, it's quite a different, Las Vegas. Wow. Anything goes there,
world.
and
You go walking into the MGM Grand, and there's a secret room there, and it takes you right to Santa's.
Yep. Nobody would ever suspect it.
Nobody would ever suspect.
it's a great rate to cover it up,
Yeah.
They think that there's like all this amazing shows and everything there in Las Vegas. But what it really is the cover up area for where you go and see the elves.
Yep. It's probably like North Vegas. Like the North Pole. There's probably like a pole and it probably says North. It's North Vegas. We got you. Figured it out.
Yeah, figured it out.
Yep. We've got it all now.
Yep. Don't worry. We won't tell nobody.
All right.
Except for everybody in the world because we're going to be
It's
on
our
YouTube.
secret. It's our secret. Yeah. We want the little inside scoop though, about how to get all the presents we need next year. So make sure you post that.
All right. Well, we're off the rails there, so let's.
Yeah, we did. Let's reel it back in.
Oh, that's the fun part of it, go a little off the rails, and we'll get back to the real stuff in just a minute.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be doing an author interview with Jeff Messick, one of my favorite people.
Yes, mine too.
Jeff's, I don't want to put any pressure on him, but he's pretty spontaneously funny.
Oh yeah, yes.
And that'll be a fun review. And then the following week we'll be doing an interview with Penny Jones.
Yeah.
And Jeff and Penny have books coming out next month, so
Me too.
that'll be fun and exciting. And they're also multiple published authors, so we'll be talking about a lot of their books and their ideas. Penny has recently dabbled into more fantastic type writing, so It's really interesting. She writes, mysteries and that sort of thing. Jeff writes fantasy books. So we got like a couple of weeks of people talking about these fantastic worlds that they create.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot of fun.
That is something to really be looking forward to.
Yes.
Some of my favorite, mysteries and fantasy. That's the kind of books I just really get into.
Penny's book is especially odd because it's about the afterlife and people that have committed suicide. They have to work off the situation to get back to the world. They have to experience the grieving of the people they left behind to get another chance at life. It's a strange premise, but it's told in a hilariously funny way, and it's very gritty and realistic in a lot of ways, and makes you sympathize with the characters, even though the characters don't have a lot of sympathy for themselves at times. It's very well done. Jeff's got one book out that's a police procedural that involves a detective that partners up with a ghost, and the ghost is like a medieval knight, and that book's called Knights of the Shield. And then he's got a series called the Mage Hunter series, and he has 2 books in that series, and that's about it's kind of like Harry Potter on steroids.
Harry Potter.
That's one way to describe
it. Harry?
But he's got like really powerful wizards, and they take power away from each other, and it's an interesting premise and very entertaining. So I'm looking forward to interviewing both those authors.
Me too.
Yeah, Browns are in the playoffs.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? What did you just say? The Browns are in the playoff.
Once in a generation, right? So this
is sorry, I don't watch that, but I'm English football, soccer, and Tottenham Hotspurs, North London is ours.
Yeah, back in the '60s, before the Bengals were created, I was a Browns fan. And,
we're pretty excited.
Everybody in Ohio was Browns fan back then because you had no alternative.
Well, I'm originally from the Chicago area, and I think one of the best things that happened was breaking the 108-year, what's it called, non-streak losing streak. The Cubs finally won the series then, and that was one of the best sports things that happened for us. And I went and I got the hat, I got the pendant thing, and that was great. So if the Cubbies are doing good, I switched to watch them too.
Nice.
I used to say back when I was a kid that if the Cubs and the Red Sox ever made it to the World Series, it would be a sign of the end of the world. Because
that's nice.
we're already past that event. Maybe they meant that if they had to play each other in the World Series.
Maybe.
Yeah, there must have been a qualification that didn't happen.
Well, it's been a really nice talk today, guys.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it was great. I had a lot of fun. My family's been also discussing things in the background. But it's
all right. That's all right.
Yeah. It's been a whole discussion thing, and it's great time.
Aw.
Well, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
See you next week. Bye.